Yo!
We are Brooke and Sid.
And we're talking BS.
Belief systems, of course. Thoughts create our realities, and we are passionate about creating better thoughts.
Join us as we figure out life from the inside out. Figure out what's holding you back and how to get out of your own way. Come join us as we talk BS.
Hi, legends!
Yo! What's up? Welcome to another episode of Talking BS.
A very special one today.
Very special
one today.
We have our first guest. Sam, the beautiful Sam, is here joining us to talk BS with us. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
I'm so excited too. Oh, we're going to go in. So today's BS discussion is in and around relationships.
Yeah.
And so we've spoken about a lot of BS in our own heads, and we're going to get to deal with BS in like other people's heads as well, like dealing with other people's BS.
Yeah, but it's not just relationships.
No.
We're speaking to single people as well today.
Oh, the single ladies. Oh.
Everybody. Yeah, everybody.
So Sam, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and why you do it?
Okay, so I'm Sam.
I'm Sam.
Hi.
Sam.
Official title, intimacy coach.
Love.
And I've been studying relationships since I can remember. I picked up my first dating book when I was 18. Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man. And just throughout my 20s, applying the tools and techniques in and out of every relationship I'd been in. My first relationship, very toxic.
Really?
Yeah. My ex spat on my face on my 22nd birthday.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Yeah, 22, great number. Anyway, so I kind of just thought, it's going to get better from here. And it did, and then it didn't.
Good.
Yeah.
And then I studied coaching, became a certified coach in 2018. And then I refined my studies around relationships when I was going through some funk with my ex. We were together for 2.5 years and picked up Men from Mars and Venus.
Good book.
Great book.
Great book.
Yeah, and then too late. And then by the end of the relationship, I was like scrambling, looking for other coaches online, couldn't find anything, and I was like, this sucks. Like there's relationship coaches out there talking about sexuality, but like I want to create connection with my man.
Yeah.
And the relationship ended, and then I went and refined my studies in the last couple of years, hired a mentor, really focused on relationships, and now I'm just
Living your life.
living it.
Living your best
And
life.
yeah, like I'm with a man who's amazing.
Good.
And like does similar work to me, and it's just been really fun.
Yeah, that's so good for you.
Yeah.
What a journey. I love that.
Yeah.
And so is that because you felt there's obviously a difference between sexual energy and intimacy, and that's what was like?
Yeah, well, intimacy, intimacy. So without knowing ourselves,
Wow.
how can we show up in relationships? And yeah, so there's a lot of like self-development, self-reflection, self-awareness in what I do, but also bringing awareness into what it's like to be with the opposite sex.
Yeah. So we want to dive straight into the good stuff. We're going to we don't muck around here when we talk BS.
No, let's do it.
With all of that, with the knowledge you have, I think the way we want to start was with the relationship side of things. So just like your top, like what do you get asked the most? Like what's the top sticking point? What's the number one piece of BS that you get approached about?
Yeah, so I was thinking about this before coming on, and there's 2 belief systems that I would love to dismantle.
Yes, please.
That's
Please,
break
let's
it
go
down.
in.
Break it down.
All right, so we've got the BS from women, that it is your partner should know what you need without having to say anything.
Guilty.
We make these assumptions.
Yes.
And with expectations, what do you get? Disappointment.
Yes.
Yeah, and then what does disappointment lead to? It leads to resentment. And what does resentment do? It kills the intimacy in the relationship.
Yeah.
You let that linger, you let that carry on long enough, and then every little thing that your partner does is just like annoying you. So to break down this BS, right, we want to look at like what women do in terms of making assumptions. So a lot of women, in my experience and what I've observed and what I've read up on and researched, is that we make these assumptions that men should know. They should just know what we're thinking, what we need, what we want. They should just know what to do.
Because women know. Because other women know that, right?
Because we're naturally nurturing beings, right?
It's the ESPN, right?
Yeah. Alison Armstrong talks about this. We compare men to the perfect woman. And so we
we do.
Yeah, we want men to be the perfect woman, and then when they're not doing that, we get frustrated.
We're built different. We're built different.
You're
Yeah,
so
for a reason
different.
too.
Yeah.
And this is the thing, right? And this is what I promote and advocate, is celebrating our differences.
Yeah.
And until we look at our differences, we're going to continue to just resent them for not being or doing what we
would do naturally.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I would say that for any woman out there, like, communication is key. Don't assume that, like, your man is thinking the same way you do. Men have a different way of thinking. You know, we were talking about this before. Like, for a man, he's single focused. So whatever's on top of his priority list, it is result orientated.
Yeah.
Meaning that, like, if the result doesn't yield something that he feels is a priority, he's not going to prioritize that. It's just not worth it for him. So when we do things like take out the rubbish, he's like, that's not a big deal. I've got bigger things to worry about right now. So there's that to think about. And when we explain to men, hey, this is what it means to me when you do this, this is what it provides for me, this is how it helps me, it syncs your man up to the result.
Yeah.
And then he wants to provide, he wants to be there. So communication is key. Don't just assume he knows what you want. And also asking him, hey, what do you need from me to help you get this done? Sometimes a man needs to be reminded.
Yeah.
And when you can make that agreement, you don't feel like you're nagging anymore. You're just like, all right, he needs me to remind him to do the thing. I've met so many women that are just like, he just won't do this and he just won't do that. And I'm just like, you're so resentful right now, and you're not even willing or able to just kind of like listen to understand what men actually need from you. Because of this assumption.
Yes, and that's the thing. I think women, being women ourselves as well, is that we know we're very intuitive. So if I was living with another woman, if the woman didn't take the bin out, I would just assume that she forgot that day. So I'd just be happy to step in, knowing that she would pick up the slack. You know what I mean? She'd probably do it the next day. Whereas men don't think like that. Men aren't intuitive like that, and then we resent men for not being like that. And it goes back to the whole thing. Like, we do expect men to be like women. And until you realise that, it will build resentment. It's so crazy.
What I love about the communication, though, is that it's not just a matter of you saying the thing, but you understanding how the men understand the thing.
Yes.
So it's not just you delivering the message.
Yeah.
But because we absorb the information differently.
Yeah.
Right? So like you said, it being result driven.
Yeah.
So on that tip, is there any what do you find in terms of words or energy? Is there any tools that, help us?
Well, I mean,
Help
you're not going to relate to a bin being personified. So, women will often, and this is something again, Alison, there's so many people out there that talk about this, and it's like, when we say the bin needs to be taken out, the washing needs to be done, to a man, it's like, the bin doesn't need anything, the bin is just a bin. The washing's just the washing. Like, domestic duties is a great example, and like, just a very common thing that people go through. But actually telling a man, what does it mean to you? Why do you need the bin taken out? And then you're going to feel more connected to the result, because it's a result orientated towards your partner's desires and needs and happiness.
Which is what I've found that men actually want to provide. Like, they want to give you happiness. It's an underlying belief that men want to be there to provide for their woman.
And this is great, because this leads into my next point, right? Happy wife, happy life. What is that? What is that? So like, happy wife, happy life. This is like, I've had so many men reach out to me, and they're just like, because I've written about this before, and I'm like, this is such BS. This BS is such BS, right?
Good. Let's break it down.
All right. So what does a man do when he has adopted this belief, right? That happy wife, happy life. He becomes a people pleaser. He emasculates himself. He has really sloppy boundaries. He's not connected to his masculinity at all. And he's constantly, it's codependency, right? When we're codependent, we become so enmeshed and so distracted with what our partner needs. We lose ourselves in relationships. And I think a lot of men can relate to this.
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, you've been through something like this.
Absolutely, 100%.
And it also enables women's toxicity. I don't like using the word toxicity because it's so shameful. We don't want to shame anybody for doing something that they don't know. Exactly. But it enables unhealthy relationship patterns. And what's really important is that a man knows his boundaries and is able to stand strong in his boundaries and not enable crappy behavior, but also have a happy medium and be like, look, I'm going to show up for you and provide for you. Like we were talking about this before with Steve Harvey, a man needs 3 Ps: provide, protect, and profess. And that is essential for a man in a relationship. If he's not providing for you or protecting you or professing his love for you, then there's something off. Like these are things that women need to look at. But yeah, you don't want to enable that entitlement, because that's what happens. Women become entitled.
We do very quickly.
Yeah.
We'll wear that crown.
Yeah.
You give me the crown, I'll wear it.
Exactly, right? And it's like, you're not a queen.
No,
You
exactly.
didn't earn that.
No.
And then that's
You
when
force someone to give it to you.
Yeah.
Exactly. And then that's what, like, these two BSs, these two belief systems, you know, like, we expect that they should know better.
Yeah.
Because we expect them to make us happy wife, happy life. And it's just this, like, confusion.
Yeah. Miscommunication. Totally.
Yeah.
And it gets from what I'm seeing or from what I've experienced, it gets fed, both belief systems get fed differently from the man and from the woman, or from the two partners. And so you got the guy behaving in a certain way with a happy wife, happy life, and then that's creating the expectation on the other side, and that fuels because it's created the expectation, it's fueling me to live up to that expectation. And it just keeps cycling.
Here's the problem. What happens when we make assumptions, right? You make an A out of you and me.
Yeah.
So while the woman is expecting her man to do all these things that she thinks he should know to do, and then while he's trying to do happy wife, happy life, and those two things aren't in sync, she's not seeing all the things that he is doing to provide, because she's got these expectations over here. And then he's not being met with appreciation, which is what men need.
And what I found is that men need appreciation as much as women need understanding. So if you're a woman and you feel that need of how much you crave understanding, that's what a man feels for appreciation too. It's a primary love need or something.
It is
like
absolute.
that.
It's necessary. And so, you know, when a man's constantly trying to make his wife happy, like not wife, but his woman happy, and she's not satisfied because she's got all these expectations. It's just this like messy situation that can be totally avoided if women could see, oh my God, this is how he's actually showing up. He's doing all these amazing things, not focusing on what he's not doing. Men don't like criticism at all. They can't handle it.
Appreciate me and don't criticize me. Thanks.
Appreciate.
I feel seen.
Great.
I'm loving this. So, to put someone, I'll put this as if we're in that situation and we've got someone in that circle or a couple in that circle, how can they step out of it? What can they do to break that cycle?
Great question. So, like I said, the 3 Ps: provide, protect, and profess. Once you start to really acknowledge, like see your man as a woman, seeing your man and acknowledge him for what he is providing, you know? Especially for women who have young kids and they're at home. You know?
That's
appreciate that your man is out there providing for the family. You know, and notice all the things that he is doing rather than what he isn't doing. There is nothing that a man wants more than to be appreciated. So appreciation is the antidote. And then communication. So like asking for what you want and what you need, and noticing how your man shows up for you. I had my mentor tell me, he's like, I gave my partner a blanket and she had a twinkle in her eye, and that just lit me up. Because men have this system, you know, where you're just like, that appreciation just inspires you to do more and be more. And men, don't lose yourself in this and like BS of happy wife, happy life. Show up, just hold your boundaries, be interdependent rather than codependent. And that is being able to show up for her needs and listen to what she actually needs and desires, but not losing yourself in that and, you know, causing yourself anxiety or like obsessing over like whether or not she's happy. But yeah, I guess an umbrella statement would be communication.
I think as a man too, if you're listening and you're finding that your woman is constantly frustrated and you've got your hands in the air and you're like, I don't know what to do next, tell her that you need appreciation.
Yeah.
Tell her, like, full stop, you can change this. You can go home and say to her, hey, look, I know that you need things from me, but first I need this. And as a woman, being the nurturing people that we are, we're going to say, oh my God, if you need that, I'll give that to you.
Yeah. What happens is we go into the relationship with our armor and our sword, and we're just like ready to fight.
Yeah.
Beneath that, when we take the armor down and put the swords down, beneath all of that is hurt. And if we can communicate from that vulnerable space and be like, when you do this, when you don't do this, I take responsibility.
Yeah.
I feel hurt.
Yeah.
This is how I feel.
Yeah.
With that information, do what you need and what you want. But removing the armor, that's what creates intimacy. Intimacy. So I'm allowing you to see into me and see into my hurt.
Yeah.
And it's vulnerable.
It is.
And not a lot of people do it.
No.
And it's almost like when you're stuck in that cycle, you keep putting your armor up and trying to make your armor stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
Thinking that will, why can't they understand me? Why can't they see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Rather than putting yourself on the other side.
It's important to self-regulate
Yeah.
and not go into the conversation dysregulated.
Yeah.
No.
Triggered, and you just don't want to have a conversation from that space.
No.
Yeah.
And another good tool, I listened to a podcast last night, and we're going to use taking the bin out as an example. If you're a woman and you're frustrated that your man won't take the bin out, write down the feeling that you're feeling. So it might be like upset or anger or resentment or anything. Then write down the opposite to that word. So if it's anger, write down happiness, and then use that word to create a solution for yourself.
Yes.
And go to the man with that solution.
Yes.
That's
It
really
makes
cool.
me happy when you take the bin out.
Yes.
Result orientated.
Yeah.
He's just like, done. I'm doing
That's
it.
going to make you happy.
Makes
I'm going to
sense.
do it. And that's the thing about men that I definitely didn't understand until I read this book, is that men want to provide. They want to make you happy. They just don't know how to do it.
Also, just a disclaimer, don't use this to manipulate.
No.
Because you can feel that, and that's going to build a really rocky foundation.
Yeah.
This is to come from truth and
Yeah.
authenticity.
Yeah, totally.
And that's really important. Integrity with this work is
Yeah.
something that I value most, and it's like I go through a whole screening process because I'm just not available to teach people these tools if they're going to use it to manipulate, which can happen. And
Yeah.
I think it's important to address that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah. Don't go to your man and be like, "This is what makes me happy if you throw $1 million in
Yeah.
cash at me." That's just, yeah. So,
Love that.
yeah.
That's amazing. So look, we've got a pretty limited amount of time, so we wanted to rock forwards and address the single life as well.
Yes.
So there's some tidbits in there for single life, and for those that aren't in a relationship, what are some BSs that you see?
Okay, some BSs that I see is, well, not so, just some tips for people in the single life. Know yourself. What are your standards? What are you looking for? The second thing is have your boundaries that will support those standards, right? So go through dating questions. What do you need to know straight away? If children is on top of the priority list for you, you need to find out that information first date.
Yeah.
There's no point dating somebody 5 dates in and then finding out children's not on the radar.
Yeah.
And the third thing is to meet people in person.
Yeah.
You're not going to gauge much online, you know? Yeah.
There's so much of that online stuff happening now, and even that online thing I'm finding is creating a sense of almost this instant gratification thing. It happens with Instagram, with TikTok, but with all these apps where if you're not engaging the first 15 seconds, and then people are applying that to other human beings. They're not discovering, they're not diving in and asking those questions. If it's not immediately swipe right, then
It's just such a it's like fast food, just fast paced. It's I had a friend tell me about it. He's like, I'm so distracted when I'm going on dates because I'm constantly thinking about, is there anything better? And it's lacking this presence.
What do you have a go-to top 3 get to know you questions? Do you have a boom, this gets
I think what's really important is to understand lifestyle. Do you have the same lifestyle? Is this person active and fit? Is that something you value? Do you value nature? Do you want to be out in nature? Or are you somebody who likes to live in the city and hang out and go to bars and restaurants or be a foodie? So lifestyle questions. Children's definitely a big one. Is that on the cards? And another one is asking them questions about why their past relationships ended.
Oh,
okay,
I like that.
Because people shy away from that, right? On a date, they shy away from talking about past relationships. Okay,
Yeah.
so what do you?
Well, you mean you find out a lot about
Yeah.
somebody. Do they have the self-awareness? Have
Yeah.
they learned anything from their mistakes? What
Yeah.
are they looking for?
Yeah.
Like, did they cheat? Were they
Mm.
dishonest? Were they, and also listening to the way they speak about their ex-partners
Yes. Yeah.
is really important
Yeah.
because I think that it can tell you a lot about a person. Definitely tell you a lot about a person.
100%.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess it can tell you a lot about a person if they can't answer a question.
Or if they're scared to.
Yeah.
But this is what intimacy is about,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
You need to ask these hard questions.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I want to know.
Oh, totally.
How did your last relationship end?
Yeah.
Like, why are you single right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah.
I want to know what I'm buying.
Totally though.
Absolutely. And meeting that person with like open honesty and integrity and authenticity,
Absolutely.
I think is so important as well.
Yeah. Like my last relationship ended because I totally lost myself in it.
Yeah.
And, I've gone on this self-love journey. So, like, that's going to tell somebody a lot about who I am. And then you'll get that information about them as well.
Oh, I love that. Well, hopefully there's something for everyone to take away. Something
Yeah.
for those in relationships and those that aren't,
Yeah.
to be able to get in. Is there anything, we've got a few minutes left before we wrap, is there anything else you want to share?
Yeah, look, it's something that I wanted to say earlier. It is about, it's an analogy that
We
I
love them. We love
Yeah,
them on
good
this
analogy.
podcast.
and I love working with the elements. I'm a bit of a spiritual hippie like that. So
Yeah.
think about a fire, right? A relationship is like a fire. It starts off with a spark, you've got that chemistry, and then you have to add the kindling, and then you have to add the logs
Yeah.
to get that fire going. But to keep that fire lit, you have to keep adding logs.
Yeah.
The question is, what logs are you adding to your eternal flame with your partner?
Right?
Yeah.
And so what, and obviously the logs can't be added by one person, you're both keeping the fire alive, so you both have to chuck.
Well, what happens when one person keeps adding and has to keep maintaining the fire and the flame? Resentment builds because
That's
you're
it.
doing it on your own, and it's not gonna, you can't keep manning the fire
Yeah.
on your own. It's a team effort.
Yeah.
And so rather than looking at the relationship as this inconvenience or this thing that is a hot
Work.
mess, it's work.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm going to add this, my partner's going to add that, let's work at building this fire together. And this is a team effort.
Yeah.
It's not a me versus we thing.
No.
It's a we thing.
Yeah.
I
There's-
love that.
Yeah.
So what are some examples of logs that
Okay, so examples of logs is, creating a date night but not expecting your partner to just be the only person creating date nights. This happens for women as well, where we kind of expect men to do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
Work together and be like, hey babe, I'd really love to go out on a date with you this week. This is what I'm feeling. Give him your desires. Let him then come and provide for that. He can take the lead in that,
Yeah.
which is hot.
100%.
So hot when a man
100%
takes the lead.
really love it.
Yeah.
taking notes?
I think as well, just quickly, a little note I took from a book that I read is that women often say, can you take me on a date? And a man would take that as, yeah, absolutely, I'm capable of doing that.
Yeah,
Like, can you take the bin out? Well, yes, I'm capable of taking the bin out. And it's the same for a woman as saying, it's a beautiful evening and you walk home and there's roses and candles and he gets down on one knee and he says, can you marry me? Instead of, will you marry me? You immediately assume well, obviously I can. That's, it's not about whether I can or not. It's will you? I'm asking from a personal standpoint, will you do this for me? So as a woman, if you do want your man to ask you on a date, you say, would you please? Would you instead of can you?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
huge.
Result
It's a
driven,
huge
not
thing.
ability.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. And using words like request or requirement, and this took a long time for me to adopt in my language. I'm like, I sound so formal right now, but
Yeah.
since I've started using this, especially with my man now, I'm just like, I really require this. I require to go to sleep early,
Yeah.
and he's there providing the boundaries.
Yeah.
All right, let's get you to bed, babe.
Yeah.
And it's this request and requirement that, I mean, how does that register for you?
Yeah.
When you hear that?
It makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like it may sound formal to you, but then when you've said that, that means something so different to me.
Yeah.
Than you going,
And
I
because
need-
the responsibility,
I need or I can
it
or-
then
yeah.
falls on the man.
Yeah.
Like, will you? I've already asked you now from a personal standpoint, and whether you remember that or reject that, that's
Yeah.
going to be on you. You know what I mean?
Totally. And what I've noticed or what I feel is that there's also a stronger connection with my why. Because as a provider,
yeah.
if you say I need to do this, that
Yeah.
doesn't register with
No,
why I
no.
want to help you do that.
Yes.
But if suddenly you put it on me as
Yeah.
actionable, like a result,
Yes.
and my internal driving force is to want to provide,
Yes.
then that connects with my why.
Good.
Yeah.
That's
And do you know
good.
what's really cool? Because like you go and learn all this stuff and you do the research and blah blah blah
Yeah.
and studies, and then when you see it happening, and this is for all men, even young boys. One of my
Yeah.
clients, I'm like,
Yeah.
use this language with your kids.
Yeah.
And she's just like, whoa, it's
Yeah.
such a massive difference.
Yeah.
And it's just so,
It's so
cool.
good. It's so cool.
I love it, and
It's
I
so
love
cool.
that it takes, first and foremost, understanding that we're wired differently.
Yeah.
That you can't put our brains in the same box or, give it the same instruction and expect the same result.
Yeah.
Awareness is the first thing.
Always.
That's it, always.
Yeah.
Yeah, with recognizing any BS. Like, you gotta be able to recognize your own BS first, eh?
100%.
Yeah. And this happens in relationships, not just in intimate romantic relationships. This
Yeah.
is information that you can use with your friendships, with your colleagues, with your family. Like this is translatable. It's transferable. Like,
I love that.
Yeah.
It's just, it's human beings.
Yeah.
It's not just...
Yeah.
I
It
love
is.
it.
Yeah. It's meant to
Yeah.
be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's so good. So before we wrap as well, you've got some amazing stuff happening. Can you
Yes.
let everyone know what you got going on, girl?
Oh, I have. So from all of this,
Yeah.
I've created some programs to really support people in this sort of work.
Yeah.
So one of them is called What Men Want, and that is empowering women with tools and techniques to inspire men and bring the best out of men and create fulfillment in relationships. That's what we need. We want to feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
That's a 4-month container. It's online, so comfort of your own home, weekly calls, really slow pace. And then we've got What Women Want, so teaching men what women want and communication tools and providing solutions to men to better understand women.
Love.
And create passion and intimacy in the relationship. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for making that. I really appreciate it.
So they're the 2 online programs, and they run at the same time. So I've had couples in my current intakes that I'm running at the moment, and they're like, what the hell? Like, how did we not know this?
Yeah.
The relationships are just thriving at the moment,
That's
and
beautiful.
I love the feedback. I'm like, yes, guys, more passion. I love it. And then I've got a program called Love Yourself First. Now, this is a 12-month year mentoring experience. It's a self-mastery in dating, relationships, and intimacy.
Yeah.
And it's a really slow burner because, self-mastery, it's a journey. And 12
Yeah.
months, we need that time and space,
Yeah.
especially for people who are personal development junkies.
Yep.
I was originally 12 weeks, and my clients that I'm running through it with at the moment, they're just like, holy crap, how did you do this in 12 weeks? Like, this is a lot. Now it's 12 months, and there's limited spaces for one-on-ones, but this is it's a group program.
Yeah.
That is just profound. It's really deep work, and I'd say there's an interview process with that one. And then I've got Saucy Sips for Singles.
Saucy!
Saucy Sips.
Yeah, Saucy Sips for Singles.
This is something you and I are
This
collabing in.
is, it's something I'm so excited about.
Yeah.
It's just it's a different world for me to step into, which I'm loving being able to step into that and hold that space. We just had our first launch event a couple of nights ago, which is huge.
Huge.
So
there
good.
were some saucy couples
There
involved.
were.
I was
Yeah.
talking to this woman, she's like, the men here, I'm like, I have to, because I go around, have a chat, I'm like matchmaking all night, right?
Good.
And I'm like, okay, this guy likes this woman likes this, and I matched them up, and then she left, and he comes to me, and he's like, And then she's like this, and I'm like, I'm hearing you tick all your boxes.
Yeah.
And you could just feel the excitement.
Yeah.
It was so
Some fires
cool.
burning.
Some fires burning. It was just beautiful
Yeah.
to just like hold a space for people who are, you know, out there looking for the same thing. And what's beautiful about an event like that is you all know you're in the same space looking for something, so it takes away that part of the stigma.
Yeah.
And it just allows you to connect real deep, real quick.
It was nerve-wracking for some of them. They
Yeah,
were like
no doubt.
really, and that's so normal.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we've been online dating for how long now? So when people come, and that was the feedback. We're just off, like completely off online dating and really wanting to that 3D connection.
Especially after COVID too.
Fully.
Yeah.
Everything
yeah.
we just lacked human interaction
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah.
But we're here to connect. We're not here to, you know, be on our screens.
Yeah.
Like you can't get a true essence like this. My partner now, I'm like, you're so beige online.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are amazing.
Yeah.